The history of orgies spans centuries and is often tied to cultural, religious, and social practices. Though the topic might seem taboo today, in some ancient societies, group sexual activities were part of rituals, celebrations, or displays of social cohesion. Here's an exploration of how orgies have appeared in history. Greek Dionysian cults. Orgies were associated with the worship of Dionysus, the god of wine, fertility, and ecstasy. The Bacchanalia festivals involved frenzied dancing, drinking, and sometimes sexual acts as a form of spiritual liberation. Roman Saturnalia. During this midwinter festival, societal rules were relaxed. An indulgence in food, drink, and sometimes sexual freedom was encouraged. While not all gatherings were orgiastic, some accounts suggest that sexual permissiveness was part of the celebrations. Mesopotamian rituals. In ancient Babylon, sacred temple prostitution and fertility rituals were thought to involve group sexual acts, symbolizing abundance and the favor of the gods. Roman emperors. The Romans had a reputation for indulgence. Emperors like Caligula and Nero were said to host lavish banquets that sometimes devolved into sexual excess. Caligula in particular was notorious for his alleged promiscuity and orgiastic gatherings, the libertines of the French court. In 18th century France, some members of the aristocracy were known for their libertine lifestyles, hosting elaborate parties that sometimes included orgiastic elements. Figures like the Marquis de Sade wrote extensively about these hedonistic practices. Secret societies. During the Renaissance and Enlightenment, secret societies such as the Hellfire Clubs in Britain were rumoured to engage in debauchery, including orgies, often under the guise of challenging moral and religious norms. Erotic literature, works like Pietro Aretino's 16th century sonnets and the Marquis de Sade's writings, described orgiastic scenarios reflecting both fascination and scandal surrounding these practices. Victorian repression. By the 19th century, Western societies became more conservative, and orgies were largely relegated to underground subcultures, with their depiction often used to scandalize or vilify groups, such as early accounts of pagan rituals or accusations against religious minorities. The 1960s sexual revolution. The 20th century saw a resurgence in sexual experimentation, particularly during the counterculture movements of the 1960s and 1970s. Group sexual activities, sometimes labeled as orgies, became part of discussions around sexual freedom and liberation. Orgies have been sensationalized in literature, art, and film. They often serve as symbols of decadence, rebellion, or liberation. However, historical accuracy is often blurred by artistic interpretation or societal biases. The perception of orgies has varied widely, spiritual and religious. In some societies, they were sacred acts tied to fertility or divine celebration, moral scandal. In others, they were seen as symbols of moral decay, often used as propaganda against political enemies, personal expression. In modern times, group sexual activities have been reclaimed in some circles as part of consensual adult exploration. If you'd like, I can explore specific examples, figures, or cultural contexts further.